Okay, so today we are going to discuss Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, Dhyan Yoga, verse 6.3. And before that, let's do our invocation. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha, Vasudeva Sutam Devam, Kamsacharnooramartanam, Devaki Paramanandam, Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum, Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Okay, so let's start the shloka. So I'll just read the shloka and the meaning, and then anyone can say that. Aruruksho munir yogam karma karanamuchyate yoga rudhasya tasyaiva shamah karanamuchyate. So the meaning is, to the Muni who is aspiring for perfection in yoga, work without attachment is said to be the means. To the sage who is already elevated in yoga, tranquility in meditation is said to be the means. Yes, Sandhya.
Okay. आरुरुक्षोर्मुनिर्योगं कर्म कारणमुच्यते योगारूढस्य तस्यैव शमः कारणम् उच्यते.
Anyone else?
Okay,
Then-
can go as
Yes.
well.
Yes, sir.
Arurukshoर्मुनिर्योगं कारणमुच्यते योगारूढस्य तस्यैव शमः कारणमुच्यते.
So, anyone else? Okay, so I'll then continue. The second meaning that I found very interesting is for one who's a neophyte in the eightfold yoga system, who is said to be work is said to be the means, and for one who's already elevated in yoga, cessation of all material activities is said to be the means. So the material activities is not just anything material within you. So the mental activities, the intellectual things. So a person who's elevated in yoga, cessation of all the material activities, stopping is said to be the means. Okay, so here, like, several terms have been used. Like, they have used the Muni, they have used Yogam. The Aruruksha means at the beginner stage, and the Yoga Rudha means a person who is established in yoga. That is the meaning of Yoga Rudha. So these some of the terms that, like, I have deciphered, and I'm going to explain it in the next shloka. I mean, next slide, sorry. So, yoga root means, what does it mean? Like, it means perfection in yoga. So, that means the soul is in union with God. So, if you, so basically, perfection in yoga, and in this previous shloka, it is saying that a person is considered elevated in yoga when there is no material activities happening. That means you get established in your soul form, and you are actually working as an instrument of God only, not like because of your desire you're working or anything. So then that state where you're perfectly in equanimity within yourself, that state is known as perfection in yoga, and that is the state where you are in actually union with God, which is Atma, working with, I mean, in accordance with Paramatma. So let's understand our eternal connection with God. So we've already discussed that in every jeev, there are two parts. One is soul and one is um, nature. So the soul is actually connected to the God, and nature is linked to the material world. So when a soul dominates, then we seek God and spiritual fulfillment. And when nature dominates, like our mind and desires, then we chase those things. The thing with the worldly desire is no matter how many get satisfied, new ones keeps cropping up. Oh, I want this, I want that. And all of us because of the attachments that uh, the soul in ignorance have made with the material world. So there is no cessation of the desire. You can never say that I got this so I'm happy, unless we awaken that that spiritual aspect within us. That cessation will not happen because it is the nature of the soul to seek God. Then comes a very profound statement that I found, like I got, was realizing God comes from intense longing and love for God. So, just like we seek anything in the material world because we want it, right? Like that, God realization also comes with intense longing and love for God. And then, those who realize this connection that we have with the Paramatma, they can achieve this easily because then they will go in this route easily and quickly and soon. So let us hear a story. It's a story of God. So I'll just read this. Once upon a time, in the vast cosmic silence before creation, the Supreme Lord had a desire to multiply himself into many forms. From this divine wish, the one God manifested in two forms, Sri Krishna and Sri Radha, to share and expand the love. So now there are only two. So now they wanted to expand this love. So between them. So because their love was pure, boundless, and beyond the limits of material world. To express this love, they began to they began a divine play, a leela. So when they started playing, endless beings got created from their essence only, and create it created endless beings and objects to join in the cosmic dance. For the play to unfold, all beings needed freedom, so the Lord granted them free will. Sri Radha's love remained focused only on God and never wavering, and so their play of love continued in perfect harmony. But the other beings, enchanted by the material world, began to mistake the temporary objects of the play as their own. This ownership led them into trouble. This attachment led them into the endless cycle of birth and death. Because God said, okay, so be it, you like them, go enjoy. So these material objects were meant only for the play, not for personal ownership. Yet, the beings forgot their purpose, mistaking these things as theirs and turned away from God. This attachment tied them to the material world. If only you could let go of these temporary things and turn back towards God, they would escape the cycle of birth and death, realizing their eternal bond with Him. So, as I said, yes, sir.
Did you mute it?
Oh, I just wanted to ask this that is this story written by Pratyusha and Saji?
No, sir. So I found this in
That's
Ram
it.
Das Ji Maharaj's
It's
Bhagavad
nice
Gita.
actually. It's nice
Yeah.
actually. It pretty much gives right. But the question is, why did God desire, right? Now we are suffering because he desired, right? So
And
he
so, if you actually extend that, we also desire because it is nature of God.
true. It all started with God's desire, and now he's telling God to stop desiring, desire higher things. But anyways, it's a
Yes.
nice way of putting it. Thanks for sharing it.
Thank you, sir. Yes, Sandhya.
Just to add to that question bit, right? Like I have always wondered this, like why did we make that first choice to go like material world? Like what is it that was there in our vritti that made us Like the very first time, I'm not saying like, of course, when things get accumulated, it becomes complicated, but
It is a very interesting question, right?
An
The way
enchantment, like if you give a small child something, they want to explore it, right? They will look
but
at
then
it and
God
they
was
play
also
with
there,
it.
right? Why were we not getting enchanted in for the love of God?
see, it's like this. We
Yeah.
woke up. This is how I have reconciled it in my head. See, the moment you woke up, you said, okay, tell me where's the party? Okay. You didn't even care to ask, okay, where did I come from? So we just wanted to explore right from the word go. And some probably cared to turn back and say, hey, where did we come from? Why did we come here to begin with? Those who questioned that and turned their back got an eternal association of God, and those who did not, who continued to relish and enjoy, kept on getting bound in that cycle of karmic cycle and all that. So it's kind of a philosophical understanding.
Actually, sir, actually, it's very true because the story, I somehow missed that point. It is written in the story that there were people who, who went back to God, realized they played with the thing, but then they understood, oh, this is like not permanent, and then they immediately turned back. They became the Nitya Siddh, I think, but we are still here.
But what distinguished these two classes of people?
Their
It's
love for God is what I would say.
But to start with, why would they be different? Anyways, I just
It's just,
always.
I think it's just the free will, right? You can do whatever you want to. He just
when God
So
want.
are
tried
you saying
to
it's a random thing? Has
random
some.
random mutation happened when he decided to mutate himself. And out of that random, we are Tatastha Shakti of him. Some were special Shaktis, and some, the Maya was also part of it, right? So this is how it happened. It was a random mutation that happened, and now we just we're with that only. But he has
Yes.
given a pathway and framework for all of us to achieve what he has. But it was a random thing. Now we have to work towards it. Some people already had it, and
Yes.
there are enough saints, right, people in flesh and blood who have actually realized God. So it's not a bar that he has set which is unachievable.
Yes.
And maybe once we realize God, we can ask him that question, why did we come here to begin with, right? It's like you are drowning in water, somebody is giving you hand and you are questioning why I'm in water. Now we are in water whether you like it or not. Now we
True.
just have to catch the hand and get out of it. Anyways, thanks for sharing that. I think this is a very nice way of trying to explain, why we are here and this. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. And actually, if you see this, there is a cosmic silence initially. The story says that it's like, and then that means that was Sri Krishna originally, and then he, made Miss Sri Radha also. So okay, so. mm Okay, so I wanted to, emphasize that those who realize their eternal connection with God, at least, we get this story, and through that how closely we are associated. It's Krishna only who is multiplied, and Krishna only is playing this game. Krishna only identifying, and then Krishna only is trying to get out. So, but as a divine spark, so it's not like. So those who realize their eternal connection with God early, they achieve this easily and quickly. So let's go further. So what is yoga as per our scriptures? So as per our scriptures, like in Bhagavad Gita, yoga has been grouped into three main ideas. I can give you the associated shlokas. I didn't include because it's the space constraint. So first is being steadfast. So yoga means you're steadfast. No matter whatever situation comes in front of you, you remain calm and balanced. The second is meditative focus. So yoga also refers to the stability of mind achieved in meditation when the mind is fully absorbed and calm. And the third, the yoga that Bhagavad Gita talks about is having divine powers. Like Krishna Bhagavan says in the Vibhuti Yoga, different powers that he has. And only if the person in some way, only if they are God realized, they will have access. Otherwise, also there are siddhis, but then that can become, blockages in your path and can distract you. But they have it because in some way they are having this connection with the divine. So that also is, and in my opinion, when I was seeing this, I think when you have all of them, that is, you have meditative focus, you have divine power, and you are, being steadfast, balanced, not emotionally, then I think that is when you can say that you're fully God realized. So in the sage Patanjali in Yoga Sutra also says that um chitta vritti nirodha. Chitta means, the bank of all the information, and mind gets thoughts and everything from there. So the mind's control of mind's fluctuations. Vritti is the patterns, mental patterns. So when there is control of these mental fluctuations, the thoughts in the mind, that is also known as yoga. And the result of this control is that the self, it will come out in its pure state. So when there is no fluctuation, no idea, no desire, nothing which is against the will of God is there as an ego, at that point your witness comes out, and that will be achieved. And that state is known as a permanent state of equanimity. Okay, Sandhya, yes.
Yeah, just wanted like so it's like yoga is union with God and all these things are like symptoms of a yogi. Can we say that way?
Yes, I mean, perfected ones. Otherwise, also,
A
but
true yogi. Yeah.
yeah, I have previously said, like, we will have certain qualities, some good and certain qualities that are kind of from coming from the ego. So the purification, how pure we are, that much close we will be to our real self. Okay, so next is how to achieve permanent equanimity. So to achieve liberation, that is the state of permanent equanimity from all the mental, the struggles and everything, humans have been endowed with three powers. First is the power to act, second power to know, and the third is power to believe. So because we have the power to act, we can do that selflessly, and that is known as karma yoga, where we are thinking about God in our mind and performing our actions. The aim is only one, to reach Him. So a person does the karma yoga. The power to act is for serving the world selflessly. This involves using the three bodies, which is our gross body, subtle mind, causal, even from deep within the earn yearnings, etc. They are all, directed towards serving God, and how God is present in everyone. So we serve others selflessly. By engaging in selfless service and dedicating one's actions for the benefit of others, a person follows the path of action. So we have to understand that God is present in within us also. So our actions should not hamper us also. Next is the power to know, Gyan Yoga. This power to know is for self realization. Again, everything is for self realization only. This path is about realizing one's true identity by detaching from the three bodies. Like, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the ego. Like that, they will go. And they will finally reach the same, lodging within one's own self. It involves understanding the self beyond physical and worldly associations. Next is Bhakti Yoga, which is the power to believe. So here it's absolute surrendering. I don't know, you are holding me, I'm walking. So that's the basic crux of Bhakti Yoga. And here we surrender to God, we consider God as our own, and we see oneself belonging to God. And complete surrender is the core of path of devotion. So these paths are actually independent of each other. There is no. Yes, Sandhya.
Well, you can complete, but it is related to this point only about
Okay.
independence because I always see like the one and three, the Karma Yoga and the Bhakti Yoga part. I always feel there's an overlap. Like you can't perfect Karma Yoga unless you are
Yeah,
serenity.
yeah. I'll come. In next few slides, everything will become more clearer. I hope so. Okay, so these three paths are actually completely independent means of God realization, because they have a common goal. I mean, with the common goal of separating the self from the non-self. Okay, so they are different, but ultimately everybody is going to realize their self. And once they realize this self, then that means I know I am Atma. Then the next stage is I'm going to know the Paramatma. There is not going to be any, no doubt about it. So you are going to realize that one equanimous supreme God once you realize who you are. So that is where the differences is still self-realization. After that, everything becomes for the realization of God. So there is only, and this God, the God realization, which is Paramatma realization, will be like according to whatever, what your Ishtadev. So like that. Um, so Sandhya, I'll answer your question. I mean, it will automatically come next. Mm, so how karma yoga helps in purification? So as we've discussed in the first shloka itself, that for the beginner stage, karma yoga is the way. So why karma yoga? We've already discussed what is karma yoga, which is serving selflessly, right? And that actually leads to purification. So what kind of purification happens is, it helps in reducing selfish desires and attachments. So you just don't accumulate things you want to share. If you don't want to share, and if you're in this path, you will see others and you will start doing that. And you will understand that greatest, I think there was a story where uh, I think, I forgot the person's name. He just recently died. He just said that when he actually went and um, gave things to handicapped people, I think some wheelchairs, and they became very happy. That's when he understood. He's a rich man. Sandhya, you shared
Ratan
there.
Tata.
Yes, yes. Yeah. So, yeah, so he shared the wheelchairs, and that's when he bought everything, but he was not getting the happiness. But when he shared this wheelchair to these people who are not able to walk and are handicapped, and one boy held on to his hand and said, "I want," and he just looked at him, "What do you want?" He said, "I want to remember your face, um, because I will see you in heaven." And I want to remember your face. So that kind of happiness is what you get. So this karma yoga, by working selflessly, actually reduces selfish desires and attachments. And it's with yes, Sandhya.
Sorry for so many
No,
interruptions.
no.
But again, like this one is more like sattvic, right? It's not Shuddha Sattva. Can then
It's like a stepping stone, right? So it's like
then
for the beginner stage, when you don't know, you practice this. And then you gradually move. And it is like you're having some tamasic tendencies, you have these rajasic, but the predominance of the latter two, will be more compared to the sattva. So this karma yoga is actually bringing you to that sattvic state. And then from there you go to I will tell in, I think, probably the next slide, that how you move towards the next stage. So reducing selfish desires and attachments, serving selflessly actually helps dissolving the ego, which is, I like this, I will not do this, everything, you have to do whatever. And acting without attachments, allowing one to transcend dualities, okay, which is very, very important, again, which is coming to the ego. So all of this is actually try helping you from going towards the sattva and shuddha sattva, because when karma yoga, the moment you say that word, you are actually trying for yoga, and you're dedicating your actions, automatically there is no, it becomes an akarma. So there's acting without attachment, allowing one to allows one to transcend dualities. It cultivates self discipline. Like, for example, if you're taking up one job, you have to show yourself no matter what. So that self discipline it cultivates. It nurtures a sense of surrender, that even if suppose I don't know how to, you will help me, you will guide me, or someone will come and help me and guide me. So then serving others fosters compassion and love. So these are the qualities of the self that naturally, comes, and you starts gathering it within you as unknowingly you develop. So all these mental fluctuations are because of this, the mind not coming in our control, and it is trying to be an individual, separate from the self. And these are the nature of soul is what comes out when you perform this karma yoga. By turning ordinary actions into spiritual practice, karma yoga integrates spirituality into our daily life, bringing one closer to divinity.
So,
Yes.
can we like have a quick discussion? I also see few hands raised, and I just wanted to again like raise this point of selfless. One can be selfless and work for material entities, and one can be selfless and work for the divine. And that's where I feel this sattvic and should sattvic probably. So yeah, I mean, I think other discussion.
It's just, I think it's just the qualities that we need to develop, and mental poise that we need to develop. So no matter whoever we are working for, if that is bringing negative qualities in us, then I think we have to check whether uh, we are doing the right action. It's because it's there were people who were there's a story about Buddha where a guy came and started abusing him left and right. Buddha was very calm. He said okay. Next, and listening to them, to his calmness and understanding that, next day when he came, he became very sad that he said all those words, and Buddha said, it's okay, yesterday you met some other guy, today I'm different. So totally indifferent to whatever. Yes, Nitin sir.
No, I just
And you forward.
wanted to call out that distinction between sattva and shuddha sattva part of it. So, see, the first stage is like, I think, Pratusha, you rightly pointed out, it's a stepping stone, right, to go to the deeper, the concept around Karam Yoga. So, first is like if people are, let's say, they are doing things for their own sake by harming others or by harming themselves, right? It could be intoxicants, it could be cheating, dishonesty, that is tamasic. Now they are propelled to action to enjoy for themselves alone, that is rajasic. Now they are doing things for others. Okay. You could be a philanthropist, you could be doing a lot of charity, you could be helping people. That is sattvic, as long as you still have a sense of doership around it, that I'm doing it, right? And that could be a trap also on the path of spirituality. People who don't believe in God, who say, I'm an honest person, I pay my taxes, I just earn rightfully for my family, I do my duties. Why do I need to believe in God? Now, the question is it Karma Yoga? It is
Mhm.
not. So, like you said, the story of wheelchair boy, I'll meet you in heaven. Actually, they'll go to heaven only because it is not Karma Yoga. It is Sattvic deed, which is again binding.
Hmm.
Sattvic is binding, and it is a little bit of a trap also for people who don't believe in God because they feel they're already doing good in life.
Hmm.
Right? When they're doing good in life, they say, why do I need to bring in God into the mix? Other day I was hearing Premanand, he gave a very nice example around it, right? It's like somebody sends somebody on government expenditure to foreign, right? So he's going to pick up a government assignment. Let's say he was sent to Europe or let's say to US. And he said, okay, I will go for your assignment, but I need a house, I need a family, I need to take care of my kids, and I need a good salary. They said, all right, we'll do it. So he said, okay. So he goes abroad and he gets a nice house, family, kid, everything. And then that's all he does there. And then he comes back. So government of India will say, you are a culprit. Okay, you did
Hmm.
everything legally, whatever. But then the primary reason why I sent you was for my assignment. You were supposed to do a government's job. So even in Sattva, we have to understand the primary goal of human life is to, do devotion to God. Now, there are three ways, right? It's like the same example I think we discussed in one of our earlier Gita sessions. There are three things. I can give a food to somebody who's hungry just to show them in bad light. Look, I'll tell you how nice I am or how fallen you are in with that spirit. So that is tamasic. You may do you may give food to somebody to show off people that look how nice I am, so that people say, wow, how generous this person is. That becomes a rajasic charity. You may give food to somebody saying, hey, this person needs help and I'm doing it. And then silently at the back of your mind, you are patting yourself, how nice I am. I do charity. That is sattvic. But when you feed somebody and then you express gratitude to God, saying, thank you, God, for giving me this opportunity to serve, your own son or daughter, then it becomes Shuddha Sattva. So same act, but the intention behind it takes it from Sattva to Shuddha Sattva. So yes, all these are stepping stone to that, but God has to be brought into the mix. Maybe Pratusha is going to explain that in next slide. When we are
Yeah,
bringing the divine into the mix, then it becomes yoga, truly yoga. Until then, it's a good karma, shubh karma,
correct.
pure karma. Yeah.
So that's why we were saying this term as karma yoga, because we are doing work and we are bringing God into the picture. Because otherwise, these are only sattvic karma, or probably, as Sir said, tamasic or rajasic, in- where wherever, like where you want to show off, so that becomes, or you want to ridicule someone.
Yeah,
So
I think
yoga,
this in
that,
Shiv Puran it says Avashyam Bhoktavyam Karmam Kritam Shubha Shubham. So it's become Shubha Shubham. Shubha Ashubham. Either it's a, Shubh Karam, that is a good karma, or it is a bad karam. So
mm,
if you're not bringing God into the mix, it's a sattvic or a good karma, and that is also binding because it'll take you to heaven, and then again you are again in that cycle. Yeah.
mm.
Yeah, I think you just put it out very nicely. Thank you, Pratusha, for that. So
Thank you, sir. Yes, Sandhya, and I think someone else is also raised hand.
So yeah, it just another aspect of what we discussed. Like I think self-realization. I think we kind of said that self-realization is necessarily followed by God realization. Is that right? So I
Yes.
want, yeah. So first of all, like in some sense, self-realization is it also God realization on its own in of a different kind? And when we say like it is necessarily followed by God realization, then are we saying that okay, yes, but it different taste? Like you said that different forms of God, but in terms of different taste, I'm saying Brahmanand versus Premanand. So I thought we can also discuss this. Maybe Nitinji can, yeah, also. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Pratusha, go ahead. So I'll tell you my understanding around this thing. So self-realization, is it equal to God realization? That's the question, right? Yeah, Gyani would say yes, because they say Aham Brahmasmi, I'm God. A devotee would say it's not. So Gyani would say that when you know a drop of an ocean, do you need to taste the entire ocean? You don't, right? So when you have tasted, you have done self-realization, that pretty much it. But a devotee would say that, knowing a drop of an ocean is fine. You don't need to taste the entire ocean, but the drop of the ocean will not tell you the expanse and the depth of the ocean. So God realization, they say that goes much more deeper, because with self-realization, you have still not understood the glory, bliss, and the expanse of God in its entirety. Because only when you build a connect with God, then you'll get to know that. So self-realization, um, is not God realization, is what my understanding is, but I'd let Pratyusha continue based on what she has read. So go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. Actually, I think I have included something regarding that in some of the image. If I come across, I will tell. Otherwise, I will tell later because I have so many slides. Okay. So next is because in the second meaning, they were saying that neophytes who follows 8 limbs of yoga, right? So has to go for karma yoga. So I have actually put this 8 limbs, and then I have described what it is, and then how bhakti aligns with it. Okay, so it will be very interesting to understand that. So what is yama? So they have 8 limbs: is yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahar, dharana, dhyan, and samadhi. So yama is ethical standards focusing on moral conduct. So key points is non-violence, truthfulness, non-stealing, moderation, a brahmacharya. I mean everything, food, everything that you get through your 5 senses. Then aparigraha is non-greed. So these are the yama points, and how it is aligning with bhakti yoga, because bhakti naturally fosters love, compassion, and selflessness, and it naturally fulfills these ethical practices, which is non-violence, truthfulness. Because when we are going towards God, we will be. So it is like merging. It is not that they are separate. Then comes the niyama. Niyama is self-discipline and spiritual practices. So Ashtanga yogi will, maintain cleanliness. They will be content with everything. They will perform tapas, self-study. They will practice Ishwar Pranidhan, which is surrender, which is also a key point in the niyama. And Bhakti Yoga, we do devotional practice, right? We daily wake up, lamp, light up the lamp, do our chantings. So all of this devotional practice is actually teaching us self-discipline and spiritual practices only, that where we are remembering God. So here bhakti yoga is again alignment with niyama. Then comes asan. So spiritual, it's physical postures to prepare the body for meditation. It promotes strength, flexibility, and concentration. So how it aligns with bhakti yoga is activities like dancing, singing, temple services. It keeps the body active and aligned for meditation. Then comes pranayam, technique for controlling breath and energy, connects breath with mind and emotions, rejuvenates the body. So here what happens is when a person is sitting in and doing pranayam, they reach their concentration starts enhancing, and they reach a point where they will understand that if I breathe in this particular way, you know, I'm able to control my thoughts, and I'm getting zero thoughts if I uh, in a layman language, if you breathe very slowly when you're really angry, if you it comes, your thoughts gets controlled. So but they will know exactly how. But for a bhakti yogi, chanting and devotional singing naturally regulates the breathing and promotes calmness. Then pratyahar is withdrawal of senses from external stimuli. So now the person is getting more in depth into the realizing their self. So in that way he will control, so that the senses don't go outward. So they will start sitting for more hours probably, or eat less. Those kinds of activities are also just what is needed. So then it helps focus attention inward for deeper concentration. And how it aligns with bhakti yoga: through prayers or images, a person's mind gets attached, and that diverts the attention from external distraction. So no matter how bad or whatever is happening, we just try to associate with Bhagwan, and we focus on, and that way we are actually practicing pratyahar. So if I eat a lot, I might not be able to chant. I will become more sleepy. So in that way. And then comes the dharana. Dharana is concentration on a single object, thought or sound, and it develops again the mental discipline and prepares one for meditation. And for us, it is mantra. Mantra provides a direct form of concentration, and you won't be able to chant a mantra for a long period of time if you have not practiced pratyahara, or your body is not balanced. You will have this pain, that pain, all that you won't be able to. So that is how the bhakti aligns with the Ashtanga Yoga. And then Dhyan, that is uninterrupted flow of concentration, where you are not focusing, it is naturally happening. So it leads to keen awareness. So the awareness actually increases in you without active focus. You're not trying, you just know. And that is what loving meditation, I mean, loving God is, which is when you actually are in love with someone or something. You just want to get it right, you just want to think about it, how kind of sankalp. We said now, like, why did that first thought happened? So maybe God wanted to experience himself. So that kind of, so the bhakti fosters a loving meditation on the divine, resulting in deeper effortless absorption, and it is all coming because of love. Next is the, so here, so if you see, dhyana is the very very late stage among all of this, and even bhakti is having all of this. So when we practice all of that, that's when we reach that loving meditative state also. And we actually practice it from very beginning because it is needed. through karma yoga, and all of this is coming. So that answers probably Sandhya's question, where this is mixing bhakti yoga and karma yoga. Probably the devotional practices and serving temple services, etc. um, the last point is samadhi. Samadhi is blissful and complete absorption, transcending the ego. So after a lot of effort, and there will be these problems of siddhis, but that if not people are ignoring it and reaching that state of samadhi, then that person becomes self-realized. So that self-realization is unity with the divine and interconnectedness of all life. So here is where everything merges, and from there on, realizing Paramatma becomes the common goal for everyone. So devotional surrender leads to a blissful state of oneness with the divine. So this is more blissful. I'll tell you why. Yes, Sandhya.
So, first of all, very, very beautiful compilation in this slide. Like I have taken a screenshot and I'm going to keep it with me. One question and a thought, like, so I think I see that second and third column also kind of, so Vaidhi Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti, right? A ritualistic Bhakti versus totally emotion, love based Bhakti. I also see like Vaidhi Bhakti is coming somewhere in between these two columns, like where you are consciously doing certain things as part of a disciplined practice, but you're also trying to keep in mind that it is for love for God. So maybe we can have like a short discussion if there's time around this. And also this aspect, like say the first point, the yama. One thing is to consciously know that I'm not supposed to do these four things and not do. Another is to simply focus on loving God and expecting that that will follow as a result. So for a beginner, there is always this question, which is a better and easier way to proceed, right? So can we
Yes.
also have a discussion on that? Yeah.
Yes, so the technical terms, I think Nitin sir, I don't know the Vaidehi Bhakti. So sir,
Okay, so yeah, I'll try to explain as best as I can. So Vaidhi Bhakti is where you focus a lot on the rules and injunctions around it. Like for example, you have to wake up, um, you know, early in the morning, do 16 rounds every day, um, have certain kind of food, avoid food which is cooked by somebody in a different consciousness than that of a devotee, and all that stuff, right? Which is rule based. And Raganuga Bhakti is purely love based. Now, who's a beginner? Who can define that? Beginner means whether we have done bhakti in our previous lives or not, we don't know, right? And then one thing is getting into a routine always helps. So it's a individual call. What works for you? The bottom line is both roads should lead to love for God. That is the end objective. Now, if love for God is natural for you, maybe you can reject the rituals. But if that is not coming, if you need to get some discipline in your life, maybe the other way to get, and probably both can go hand in hand. So there's no right or wrong answer. It really boils down to an individual, what they're ready for, truly ready for, rather than saying this is the best way. You just focus on love for God, rest will happen. Or you just do, that will happen. We don't know, right? You have to take an individual call. As long as the big picture is clear, end of the day, we have to love God and not get hung up in rituals alone. And at the same time, if you're loving God, rituals has to follow. You will feel like doing them things for them. You feel like now if you are developing love for God and you are enjoying your meditation, right? Your dhyan is reaching a certain level. And then you realize the other day you had food, somewhere outside in the restaurant, or probably it was not prepared with the right consciousness that you have been used to. So your meditation would immediately reflect that. So you would know
Mhm.
that you have to take care of that aspect very carefully. So both will reinforce each other beyond a point. So it's an individual call what works best for them. But I think a bit of a discipline to begin with helps. Like any other thing, like even when we were studying, I remember the parents would say, hey, this is the time you have to study, or this is the time you have to wake up. No, it seemed pretty labored at that point, but that actually helped. It helped you get into a routine, And beyond a point, you did not really need that, as long as you knew this is what you need to cover. Whether you wake up in the morning or you put in extra hours in the night doesn't matter at that point. So I think there's no right or wrong answer, but end of the day is love for God has to be developed no matter what you are doing, and that is the key. That's my short
Yes.
answer.
Yes, yes. And also this compassion, selflessness. I think the Bhakti Yoga is interesting because we meet other people also. And when we say, Ashtanga Yoga, they're kind of pretty much on their own unless they are properly guided. They don't get to look at others and learn from them. So that also, some point or the other, they have to learn that, because then there will be mental fluctuations. If you do something bad, how can you be peaceful? So
And also in Bhakti Yoga, the added benefit is that God has said categorically in Bhagavad Gita, Na me bhaktya pranashyati. That means my devotee will never fall. Now,
mm,
he's not saying na me ashtang yogi pranashyati or na me jnani pranashyati. Right? There's a reason for that. So
mm,
that's because in Bhakti Yoga, you right from the word go, you are leaning on God's grace. And finally, when you surrender to God, God adopts you. Right? It's like an adoption that happens at that point. So you're relying on God all along. And that is where he makes sure that he does the course correction for you and takes care of you along the whole journey itself. And that makes it easy. You have delegated that responsibility to him and you lean on him for your progression as well on this path. So that helps. So
yes.
glad.
Okay, so let's move forward. Um, so yeah, this point where devotional surrender leads to a blissful state of oneness um, with divine. This is samadhi in itself is actually a blissful state only. But why bhakti is in, like, when I'm thinking about it, um, suppose a person is sleeping, okay, and is not in getting involved in any activities, then he's not enjoying much of anything that is happening in terms of activity, right? But if he goes and gets involved, probably dancing and singing for God, th- that state within him, he will be awake and will be able to experience it. So in that terms, I feel the bliss is more in Bhakti Yoga. Okay. So let's discuss the shloka. It is the first side is Aruruksho Munir Yoga, Karma Karanam Uchyate, which is one who desires to ascend to yoga. Action is said to be the means. So if you see all of these in the image, the lower portion, we are all afflicted with this, envy, arrogance, ignorance, false prestige, pride, attachment. So as we, progress the ladder, we become more calm and quiet by our own nature, and that will actually help us in the God realization. So in the second section is for one who is established in yoga, tranquility is said to be the means. So a muni is a contemplative person who has spent considerable amount of time observing the world and has come to the realization that worldly objects, people, situations do not yield true happiness. So we are getting into that stage where we have enjoyed enough, and now we understood, okay, there is this permanency is not there. So what if I am the king in this birth? That need not be make me the king in the next. I don't know what karmas I've done, and how the situations will come around me. So so that person has actually thought about it, and this insight does not necessarily require retreating to a forest or isolating oneself. It can be gained through everyday life experiences. A muni understands that the material world cannot provide lasting joy and his desire to rise above it, seeking a higher spiritual existence. So that's the how the a muni progress. So when he's aspiring, it is known as aruruksha, and when he's elevated, it is known as arudha. So in the aruruksha state, this muni is not yet firmly established in meditation. So we are saying, we are actually talking about not the samadhi, we're just talking about, from the yama niyama till the person reaches towards that dhyana stage. So before that, he's not firmly established in meditation. His mind still contains desires and qualities of sattva, are lower compared to Rajas and Tamas. For such a seeker, the path of Karma Yoga, selfless knowledge, selfless action, is essential to develop discrimination and dispassion, which will gradually eliminate desires from the mind. So he has to do these the he has to learn, because the ignorance is the cause, right? So he has to learn the about God. It is applicable for both, okay, even the bhakti yogis and anyone. And the second is Arudha state, where this Muni has already achieved a high level of discrimination and dispassion. Gyan Vairagya, there is at a very high level. And with the predominance of Sattva, his mind is free from desires and he engages only in essential actions that fulfill his obligatory duties. So now he wants to sit in one place and do more of dhyan. So for this elevated person who does not have so much, mental fluctuations and is calm and quiet, yeah, he's naturally meditative. For a bhakti yogi, if he's in that state, he doesn't have to go anywhere. He's naturally calm and quiet, and I consider it as meditation with open eyes. So for this elevated person, meditation becomes the means to advance further in the path of yoga, which is self-realization. Yes, sir. And Sandhya.
Yeah, I wanted to just ask maybe a quick thing on, is the tyag, which is sacrifice, same as vairagya, which is detachment?
Um, you're asking me?
No, I mean it's a think. I think we can think about, because there is
See,
something.
I don't think so. I think tyag means you still have the desire, and it's kind of uh, maybe wrong way of perceiving the real meaning of it. It should not be, I like it and but still I'm giving up. But it should be, I'm giving up because I'm contented with it. I have it, I've experienced it, I have no attachment with it, and I'm letting it go because probably this is more useful to the other person.
Right. So tyag, renunciation, is not bereft of desire, like you rightly pointed out. So Aruruksho, the aspiring Muni, Arur Arur
Maru Ruksho.
Aruruksho, they do tyag. They are forcefully, doing right. They're sacrificing, but that attachment or that rag has still not gone. And the arudha, they are vairagya, they have developed the detachment, so they are already, it's like they don't have to do tyag. That rag
Mm.
aspect is taken care of. So the difference is like a seed which will germinate, could germinate, and you are forcibly not giving it stuff, and to the seed which is burnt, now it's not going to sprout anymore. So that is the difference between Arud and Aruruksha. So Tyag is work in progress, and
Mm.
Vairagya is where you have conquered that desire itself. So that is the
Yes.
difference between the two. Just wanted to call that out.
Thank you, sir. Yes, Sandhya.
Yeah, actually, just wanted to add another analogy to what I how I understood this is like, so the aspiring Muni, as it is also said, means is to be action. So like I think are all the ones who should be following the path of Karma Yoga. And the one on the right are like the ones who are ready for Karma Sannyas, like in my understanding from that perspective. Like because they're all already like, as Nitinji, we have learned that kacha atta versus puri, right?
Mm.
Which, so yeah, just wanted to bring that. Yeah.
Yes. And I think we have another hand raised, Manvita ji.
Yes, we need to
Can-
unmute her. Yes, please go ahead. Radhe Radhe.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. So I wanted to share something regarding the self-realization and God-realization aspect that we spoke about. So this left-sided picture, it actually shows it in a nice way, that envy, ignorance, all of that we have, right? The three gunas that we have. So realizing that what we have, like we might not be having everything, but we act out of those gunas, those three gunas. And sattva gunas are still good, but still those whatever personality we formed, it's out of our old beliefs which may not be serving us at this point of time. So realizing and going beyond all of those gunas and our personality, which actually is a subtle form of ego as well, that we bind ourselves to the personality and the old beliefs and don't come out of it. So God is beyond those three gunas and divine, right? So the self realization is reflecting on where we are and what beliefs we have and what we have to cross, and then being at that state where we realize the God. So I think it's a self-realization is a pathway to, purify ourselves and be arrive where God wants us to be with. So I was these days I'm more listening to Premanandji, and also I came across a book which I feel I'm so lucky to come across that. It's breaking the habit of being yourself. So it was written by a scientist, neuroscientist, and also he's spiritual. So it's a very rare combo, I felt, like, from not only from scriptures, but he, like, very amazingly, says about how this all how we are biologically bound to our personality and how to break through it. And also he talks about the God, and exactly the way we speak, right, in our scriptures, the way, and also frames of meditation and how to surrender to God, that. So I, yeah, if anyone is interested, that is there, on Audible. So I just wanted to share that thing which I felt. Thank you.
Thank you, Manvita Kariji. Yeah, we'll definitely want to read that book. And thank you for explaining the self-realization and God realization. Um, so yeah, actually, we I was just trying to tell in this point about the bliss aspect. So I will say one more thing about the self-realization and God realization. It is like how Nitin sir was saying that self-realization is not God realization, because God is all knowing and we are very limited. But the thing is, as a soul, um, we understand that God is with us, right? But so imagine there is a sea and there are some bubbles coming out of the sea. So these bubbles represent the essence is same, what we have, both have water in it, but the bubble is really small compared to the ocean. But then this bubble can expand. Expansion can happen in terms of its knowledge. So we have, because of our ignorance, and we don't know what all past lives, what all knowledge, because it can be like we have been probably any profession that you're interested, and probably we've been that thousands of times before now. So that being said, we might know that particular thing, but because we are still looking for that yoga has not happened in its entirety. The knowledge is there, but we don't know yet. And we are pursuing something else right now. So in terms of that, this bubble can expand. And if you keep expanding the bubble, that means more life is coming inside, more life is coming inside. Then sooner or later, that the size of the bubble will be equal to the size of the God, and then it will just merge, kind of a situation, right? So it will have that knowledge, but right now it is very less, uh, as a spark of the divine. So it's not that we cannot expand. And that's why even after God realization, like suppose a person gets self-realized, he can choose to, there are so many lokas, right? He can choose to go there, experience, expand himself, so there is no limit. So that is why he says, once we have come into existence, we are here forever. So that's why when we are off all these material impurities, we get this divine bodies and we can be wherever we want to. And it's not limited to any particular place, or it will all depend on our bhav. And we are there because we are seeking something. And it's not necessary that we'll not seek something else at a later point of time. Or we might. Yes, Andhya.
I know it's 10, but I just felt very motivated to ask this right now, that for self-realization, also the element of grace is a must, right? Or not?
Yes, yes. there is, because only because God is sitting right there within you, and God is seeing what all actions you are doing and how pure, what you need. So He will give you all of that, and that is what grace is, right? Like we are here doing the satsang, discussing these concepts. So that's grace only. And then last slide, it says like love can manifest the divine. It's our is our longing because of love, because of love for God or love for material possession. Why are we actually seeking God? And God is not, just one form. The Paramatma can be in any form and can come in front of you, talk to you. But are we longing for God? Like Markandeya, he longed, he just hugged the Shivling, and Shiv came and helped him out. And Mirabai, she just simply loved God. Krishna manifested for her. And Kalidas, he was just, ignorant. He didn't know what to do, but he had love for God. And that's when God came. So ultimately, whatever we are doing, it has to reach that stage. Radha, she loved God. That's why she was with him, and we got distracted. So we are here. But yeah, we are trying to learn, and sooner or later we'll reach. So thank you for the opportunity again. And it was great discussion. Thank you so much. Radhe Radhe.
Nitin ji, yeah, then we can.
Oh, thank you, Pratisha. That was very nice. And sorry we kept on interrupting you, but you were still able to finish off all the slides. So very nicely put. And the last thing, I think, love for God, that slide you put, I think that really summarized it. Are we loving world via God, or are we truly loving God? Right, that will dictate how quickly we end up realizing God. And I think one of the analogies I heard recently, which we might be able to relate to as well, is like when a baby is crying, right? Mother, right, busy in her work, she's doing some work, so she will, maybe throw some kind of a toy the baby's way so that the baby is kept busy, but the baby doesn't stop crying. Okay, then what happens? She sends some domestic help, or go check out what's going on with the baby. Baby still doesn't stop crying. And then the mother will pick the baby, right? That something is really wrong. Baby just needs me. So same thing. God will first send bhukti, mukti our way. Those are those toys, right? Which you might bhukti, all the toys of the world, they will send our way. If we get stuck there, that's it. We don't get to realize God. If you don't get stuck there, then he will send the domestic help, which is Riddhi and Siddhi. Siddhis you were talking about, Pratyusha.
Mm.
Siddhis are also like when your mind is calm, tranquil, Siddhis will follow you, right? So you will start seeing divine visions, and you will be able to read people's mind and all that. Now, God has sent that as a carrot. Do you take that? Then you are stuck. If you don't
Mm.
take that, you say, no, God, I only need you, then mother will catch you in your lap. So that is how the path of devotion goes as well. But yeah, very nice discussion. So thank you for putting it together. Thoroughly enjoyed it. So thank you again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone who contributed, asked questions. It was amazing. So thank you so much.
Yes,
We don't have a devotional section, right?
it was a wonderful one. So many clarifications. And at the end, the conclusion was what we need to do. So awesome. And thank you to Manvita ji also. I'm placing the order for this book. I'm really, really looking forward to reading this. So yeah, so thanks for that suggestion. Awesome. So we'll see each other next Saturday for the second session of the Bhagavatam stories that we started just yesterday. So if you missed it yesterday, it's okay. You can join us for the next weekend. And yeah,
Thank you. Thank you, Sandhya. Thank you,
Radhe
everybody.
Radhe.
Radhe
Radhe
Radhe.
Radhe.